who knows the sleep, having slept, and who comes out with the memory. But that eye doesn't hold any water for them. They think that it's all the biological aggregate called the body. Ka nishtha abhijita atmanam. Thus, completely neglecting or cut away from, distanced from anything like spirituality, morality, ethics, religion, devotion, yoga and the like. What is going to happen to them? After all, human society consists of abundant variety, and a section of the people will always be like this. So he wants to know, what is their fate going to be? Bhagavantam harim prayo na bhajanti atmavittamaha tesham ashanta kamanam ka nishtha abhijitatmanam. So far, the yogis were speaking about positive and good things. Now they are being asked, what is going to be the deadly, the painful and the miserable outcome for non-worshippers, disbelievers. Something very important. And see how the yogi, particularly Chamasa, who started answering King Nimi, he deals with the subject. And this is perhaps the most relevant subject, particularly for householders. It will expose, during the exposition you will find, as to how householders miss the great sublimity of human life. They have got a very good opportunity. Everything is safe for them. Members of the family are there. Initially we have our parents, brothers and sisters. Later on you get married, you have the married partner. Maybe parents and some others are still with you. You have your own children. So 3 generations you have. Parents, yourselves, and then the children. Sometimes 4 generations, grandchildren also. To live and move in the company of all these people is a very good opportunity. An ascetic who lives in solitude will be alone, sometimes with a few disciples. Here you have the most intimate interaction. You can express whatever is there in your mind. There is an inseparable bond between the family members. They say blood is stronger than anything else. Like water which cannot be cut and separated, the blood relationship, they may fight, they may argue, they may hate, they may beat, but still there is a bond connecting them, binding them. So there is every opportunity for you to express everything that is in your mind, and through the expression you become purer and more sublime and enlightened. But are we really using that opportunity, or are we missing it? So the question is very relevant. Chamasa uvaja. Chamasa begins to answer. Here he brings the idea of Varna and Ashrama. The whole of it is not discussed completely. Later on, Uddhava is asking Krishna to explain the entire Sanatana Dharma in a beautiful package. So the entire Sanatana Dharma is governed by only 2 words, Varna and Ashrama. All people are born, by birth they belong to a Varna, a certain set of tendencies. And Ashrama is something that they have to rear, adopt, grow and pass through. So the Varna is Prakriti made, Ashrama is man's option. Am I clear? How many times shall I explain it? Just like when you are born, you are either a male or a female. Very rarely we are eunuchs. So the male and the female, that categorization, it is not intentionally done by us. It is all taking place according to an intricate system, designed and also preserved by nature. So the population, the sex part of it, is always governed by Prakriti, nature. And nature tries to hold the balance. Even now in India, in different regions you will find female population is more or male population is more. Kerala, always female population has been more. After the Second World War, where a number of men died, it lasted for a few years. Quite a number of soldiers died, all were men. It appears that, I have been told that Prakriti herself has designed matters in such a manner that the male population was more. So everything is taking place according to a beautiful scheme. There is a check, there is a balance, there is a harmony which nature has to preserve. You may try to become disharmonious. It may be in a chosen individual friend. But the total nature, it cannot be like that. You know, many things are taking place upon the earth, and all of them, trees are there, creepers are there, rivers are there. There are so many chemicals, so many salts, all of them are underneath. Whatever is surfacing, you will find, all are biodegradable. Everything will be decomposed and degraded, and ultimately everything will become the earth. So you plant a tree. In 100 years or 50 years, it becomes very huge. To the extent the tree has grown, to that extent, air is absorbed, water is absorbed, minerals and salts are taken. So whatever is reduced in the sources, that alone becomes the tree. After that, the tree falls. Either it is used for some purpose. Finally, it goes back to the earth and merges with the earth. So the total quantity of the earth cannot change at all. It remains the same. Water is rising up in the form of vapor, and the vapor travels in the sky. Finally, it gets cooled. It comes back in the form of snow in the higher regions, rains in the lower regions. Finally, it goes back to the sea. So the total water will remain the same. The total earth also will remain the same. Now what are we doing? We are extracting things many kilometers from inside the earth, and we are using it for different purposes. Many of them, or most of them, or some of them at least, are not biodegradable. Now an imbalance is generated. Whether it is really biodegradable or earth has got power to decompose it, it is yet to be seen. But the scientists are saying they are not biodegradable. So in our civilization, we have to take a very wise step forward. For purposes of our life, whatever articles we are making, whatever facilities we are trying to harness, in none of them we will bring about a disbalance or a disharmony in Mother Earth or surrounding nature. Why did I say all this? Only for one important factor. What is that? By birth, we are belonging to a category. That category is generally 4. Just like the 4 groups of blood, it's only 4. 4 varnas. And everyone born in this varna should undergo 4 different stages. These stages are designed by us, shaped by us, and every stage, what should it be like? It is just like writing a constitution to govern the people of India. We became independent in 1947. We wanted to form a constitution. So a constituent assembly was formed. And this constitution we gave to ourselves in 1950. After that, the entire citizens of our country, their behavior, their interaction are brought under the provisions of the constitution. Similarly here, we discovered that Varna is nature born, Ashrama is man-made. And everyone has to go through it. The first ashrama, to briefly make you understand, is the period of education. The second is that of householdership. The third is withdrawing from the household. The fourth is becoming an ascetic and traveling in the country. These are the 4 stages. All the 4 put together will mark the crowning glory of human life. See what Chamasa says. Mukhabahu rupadebhya purushasya ashramai saha chatvaro jajnire varnaha gunair vipradaya pradhag. Mukha bahu rupadebhya purushasya ashramaihi saha chatvaro jajnire varnaha. The word varna literally means color. What is this color? We are able to understand the extensive nature of the world and creation only by color and shape. When you look at your father and mother, you are able to identify them. Here is the father, here is the mother. How do you identify from a distance? You see the color of the father's skin. And from the color, you understand that he has got 2 hands, and in the 2 hands 10 fingers. Then he has a head, 2 eyes, 1 nose, 2 holes, 1 mouth, 2 ears, hair, black, etc. It's all you are arriving at by seeing the color. We don't see the shape. Shape is a derivation from the color. And because the color of dress, color of the skin of the father, they differ from those of the mother, you are able to distinguish the mother and the father. The same applies to the plant kingdom, the vegetable kingdom. You are able to look at the sea, water, lake. This much is the shore, thereafter it is water. So this varna is actually a distinguishing trait, a color. And from that you will find so many different herbs are there. This is jack, this is arecanut, this is mango, this is peepal tree, this is ashwatha, this is banyan tree. How do you say all these things? Only from color. So this varna actually refers to a kind of a categorization. All people are born. And to make you understand it, they relate it to the human body, which you already know. So illustrating it with the human body, they say, this is how varnas are formed. Though they are 4 in nature, they are not contradictory to each other. They are different, no doubt. But everything is a complement to the other. There is close mutuality, collectivity, harmony and togetherness between them. There is no fight or a conflict. Each is supposed to help the others. Mukha, Bahu, Uru, Padebhyaha. In the human body, Mukha is the face, Bahu is the hand, Uru is the thigh, Pada is are the feet. So in our body, what are the important items you see? You are having the whole body. One is the face. In the face you will find most of the organs of perception are there. Most of them. Eyes, nose, then tongue and also ears. Only the skin is left. That also is here. So the face is the most important if at all you want to have a comparison to say. Then Bahu, hand. It is with our hand that we hold. If a child is made to walk, what do you first of all do? You give your finger for the child to hold on to and make the child walk. So the hand is very important. Can you imagine anybody with no arms at all? It will be very terrible. Then the whole weight is supported by the thighs. Thereafter you go to the feet. The feet alone are touching the earth. So the entire gravity is directly pulling your feet and the feet has to take the entire load. Now because our feet have to be constantly in touch with the ground, the feet are so made, the skin also is so made that it will be able to walk on a rough surface, slushy surface, wet surface, thorny surface, everywhere it can go. Don't think that the people of the country in the rural areas, even now they have chappals. I think many people must be walking without chappals now and they are quite used to it. In my young days I remember, we used to walk without chappals. Many times thorns will enter our feet. So many times thorns have come. What do? We cut the skin with a blade and make a hole and press the surrounding places, the thorn will come out. Immediately, what is the indigenous medicine? We don't take a tetanus injection or anything like that. A wick with a little oil is burnt. And when it is glowing, we will start beating that place where the thorn has entered. So that place will become hot. After some time, we will stop. Again, we go on beating like that. And maybe we administer it like for 2 or 3 minutes. We have no problem at all. Nowhere the tetanus or tetanus injection was taken. So these were the indigenous methods of living. So there is a close harmony and togetherness between all these 4 parts. Mukhabahu rupadebhyaha purushasya ashramai saha chatvaro jajnire varnaha gunaihi vipradayah prathak. We are in the midst of the dialogue that took place in Videha Nagari, in the Satrashala, Yajnashala of King Nimi. King Nimi was raising one question after the other in front of the 9 yogis who arrived during the performance of the yajna. Altogether there were 9. As I told you the other day, we are discussing the question he raised before Chamasa yogi. And one, as I said, Drumila yogi, his conversation I have dropped for the reasons which I have already mentioned. However, this omission must make you think whether all of you are sufficiently fit, mature and harmonious in the matter of listening to the great holy narration called Sreemad Bhagavatam. Sreemad Bhagavata is said to be Swadu Swadu Pade Pade, Swadu Swadu Dine Dine. Word after word, it is delicious, it is sweet, very pleasing, nourishing and tasteful. Day after day also it is so. In spite of it, I thought my English viewers may not be quite at home with all the discussion that took place so far as Drumila Yogi is concerned. You know, humanity always consisted of 2 sections of people. These 2 sections will always be there as long as humans inhabit upon the earth. We also have such a division. There are a number of creatures. Some of the creatures are very wicked and ferocious and powerful. Some others are very gentle. You can think about the lions, the jackals, and the tigers, and so many other animals. Think of the cow, the deer, the squirrel, and the like. Some are falling in the category of cruel ones. Others will fall in the category of gentle ones. In the same manner, you will find these 2 groups will be there. I am reminded of what Nachiketas raised in front of Yama when, responding to the order of his father, Vajashravas, he went to the palace of Yama. Yama came and Nachiketas was offered 3 boons, and by the third boon he opted to know something. Listen to what he said. Yeyam prete vijigitsa manushye asti ityeke nayamasti dichaige edad vidyam anushishtastvayaham varanam esha varastradiyah. O Yamadharma Raja, in the world below, in the human world, there are always 2 opinions with regard to this particular subject. What are the 2 opinions and what is the subject? Yeyam prete vijigitsa manushye. When a person dies in this world, means what? He drops his body. Vijigitsa manushye. It gives rise to a very specific and strong doubt. What is the doubt? Asti ityege nayamasti dichaige. With the fall of the body, the living individual is all over. There is nothing left aside. The body is a biological aggregate consisting of Panchabhutas. The Panchabhutas get perhaps disintegrated and join the mother elements. A decomposition or otherwise takes place. Either the body is disposed of in the form of cremation or maybe burial or some other means. And with the fall of the body, everything is gone. Nothing in the way of an individuality or an identity or the soul is ever to be there. This is one opinion. Another set of people say, no, man is not the body at all. The human is not the body. He only has a body. Just like we have a house, we have dress, we have so many other articles with us. The body also is a constant associate of something inside called the soul. When the body falls, the body alone falls. That falling or dying will not and does not affect the soul, and the soul survives. So with regard to death and whatever follows in the way of an outcome, there is always a doubt. Up to the point of death we are able to see, but beyond that we are unable to see anything. It is beyond the sensory perception. If there is a soul, it must be absolutely different from the Panchabhutas, different from even the so-called invisible space. Such a soul, how can we think or interact with? It is not possible at all. But you are said to be, O Yamadharma Raja, in charge of all people who die. So if there are souls, you must have brought them and you must be keeping them in a storeroom. I would like you to open your storehouse and show me whether there are any surviving souls at all or not. Etad vidyam anushishtastvayaham. In this matter, I would like to have an authoritative knowledge and realization and experience instructed by you properly. This is what I want as the third boon. Varanam esha varastradiyaha. Of all the three boons, two I have sought and you have given. This is the third one. Of course, Yamadharma, Raja got very much frightened. Why the fear? Because he had to disclose whether there is anything called death at all or not. Or birth, death, life, everything seems to be an illusion. This is the actual truth. That means Yamadharma Raja will have no place of existence at all. Nobody would fear him. Nobody would regard him. Now the doubt is what makes his position stable and safe. So he wanted to dissuade Nachiketas and offer many other things instead. But Nachiketas did not seek any one of them. He insisted upon his own inquiry. Why I said this? King Nimi is also raising such a question. Bhagavatam harim prayo na bhajanti atmavittamaha tesham ashamtakamanam ka anishtha abhijitatmanam. There are people in this world who do not recognize anything called God or a supreme power or a potential. Everything is visible and the visible world alone is the be-all and end-all of everything. Live here comfortably, enjoy life as much as you can. If the death were to come, let it come. Thinking of death, you should not stop or withdraw from your enjoyment. Have no restrictions whatsoever. It is nonsense to talk about morality, ethics, spirituality or the other world, etc. Because of the greed, the fascination and the passion dominating in their mind, they want to indulge in all kinds of enjoyment. And any talk of religion becomes a restriction, a restraint, an inhibition for them. This is one set of people. Others are very sober, very religious, very pious. The world cannot be an accident. It has to be an incidental outcome. Everything here is governed by a law, a process, an order. So there seems to be several institutions, several vyavasthas in this world. And all these cannot come from a mere accident or from a zero. After all, we are intelligent. There is mobile creation, immobile creation. Plant life is there, tree life is there. Then bare elements and salts are there. So in some we don't find except physical and chemical properties. In the others we find something in the way of a biosis and biological properties. These biological properties are further excelled by what we call the presence of mind, intelligence and ego. And these three are maximum or most pronounced in the human being. See, we have got the power to articulate. And articulation, such a beautiful process. Whatever is in one's mind, he is able to relate, communicate and articulate to the other. We cannot see the mind of another. But when he starts speaking, his mind radiates through the speech, so to say. So we are very intelligent, we are very rational. Many things we see. Seeing the things, we can make inferences about the unseen and the invisible. How can such rationality, system, order, ethics, etc. reign unless there is a suitable source for it? See, the source, a spark of fire, can originate only from the blazing fire. If the spark is brilliant and hot, the source also should be brilliant and hot. So the source must be equally intelligent. So the entire universe, though we are not able to find a cause readily, it must have emerged from something very, very knowledge in nature, knowingness in nature. This is another philosophy.